Hey everybody, this is Brad Duck saying hi to you, and we've got some pretty cool stuff tonight to do. We have, you guessed it, memory. Lots of memory. But that's a good thing, because today the HPe DL 380 Gen 9 chassis, which is in pretty seriously disarray here, let me show you, is in pieces and parts, and here and parts there, and so on and so on. And so what I'm doing here is I am putting in components back in for testing to see if I have a compatibility issue. But I am not going to put this in. And I think this is the guy that caused all the grief. It is a type class PCI 4 with a NVMe disk on it. And I think that is my headache, my source of my problems. And we're going to find that out because I'm going to put the quad card in, and I want to make sure that I have functionality. So I'm also going to vet it so it's properly vetting correctly, so their airflows are doing the right things. And then I'm going to put the new memory in. Now, part of me says don't do this. Put the memory in first, test it, so on and so on. But technically, most of this is HP gear, so it should work just fine. Here we have the HP 400 series, and we have the 10 gig right here. It's a SPF style GBIC, CAN baseline on fiber optic. But as you can see here, I have the ability to do external outputting, and I have internal outputting. So this guy may give me some grief. He might. I don't know yet. We will find out. If he does, then I'll just take the necessary steps, remove it, unfortunately, and try to find out something that is more functional for the role. These things are such a pain in the butt. Okay, so that's done. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull this off. And as you can see on the bus here, I have 3 set banks: white, black, blue, white, black, blue. Again over here, white, black, blue, white, black, blue. And of course I have my external buses right here as well. So I need to get the lid. Okay, there it is. Because on these chassis, you will have on the lid the information that you're looking for making sure you have the right sequence banks. Now, here, I know I've got to get my granny glasses. Okay, here, it identifies the channels. You've got A, AA, B. Okay, so A and B and D and C on these channel sets are white. And I only have, I think, roughly, let's see, I've got 4 batteries of pairs. That's basically 2 per each. So I'm going to be populating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so yeah, so I'll be doing these in order. So A, B, C, D, E, and so on to make sure I have the order correct. So I'll go ahead and put this off the side and start staging this now. Sorry for the postponement, but I've been told skipping areas that you think is important, which is important, is something you guys want to see. So what I'm going to do here is I'll put this guy right here. Alright, so we're currently in B channel, and we are in your processor 1, your processor 2. You are in channel 4. That is D channel, right? should, huh, that is interesting. That is wrong. Okay. So, what we've got here is we've got 12 slots here, and we have 12 slots here. And they have done this wrong. So that doesn't surprise me, because some of the delay sequences that I've been seeing now make sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it correctly. First, we're going to pull out existing memory. And these guys are two 32 gig sticks right here. They are high-end sticks. Now I've got multiple pairs of 16s here. And to keep things uniformal, I am going to first pin in all the 16s in proper sequence. And to see if we are good to go. So, here's the memory. So we will start the process off on bus number 1. Bus number 1 is this guy right here. He is the farthest one out. I stand corrected. No, that's not bus number 1. That is bus number 12. So on the outer rim is 12. So that means you are 1 here. So let me confirm. Yes, to the inside white double set. So here are 2 double whites right here. And you can actually see the changes in the bus, because here on the pinout, this guy right here, all of these go to the left. From here, the other double white, they all go to the right. Hence, they are specifically tagged for buses. So on this guy, the white port here is actually port 12 for this processor. So this one is correctly set now, and this one has to be correctly set as well. So I'll go ahead and get him done. So T has to be flipped. Has to be flipped again. Jeez. I think I know how to put a DIMM in after so many years. Okay, so 1 and 1 are done. So that's 16 gigs for each stack. Now what I've got to do is I've got to go through 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that means 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. So I'll go ahead and populate these now. One, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll take a look at this guy to make sure that he is properly rated to match the other. And no, they're not properly rated. So I'm going to do a check here. But these 8 giggers are. Okay. That is good to know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. Now technically I could cheat. What I mean by cheating is I could put these 32 gig sticks in, and they will actually slow down to perform at the speed of the 2133s I have in here. I'm going to put it in just for grins and giggles, because I am experimenting, right? So we will give that test to see what happens, and if it says burp, I don't like that. Now some chassis motherboards are like, okay, everybody go at the speed of 2133 and we're done. But as you can see here, let me bring it into sharper view here for you. We have for processor 1 the 4 new sticks of 16 gigs each, so that's 64 and then 32, and then over here the same thing, and they're paired in exactly proper sequence, unlike the original set which were not properly sequenced. Then over here we've got the SAS independent LSI 9200 series card, the 10 gig port down here, the quad port here, and yeah, you know, you'd be surprised how many times you actually end up having to need bandwidth, so that's important. Now with that being said, everything else looks correct, so let me put this back. Alright, and then we will resecure the cover. Alright, yes, and yes, yes, okay, yep. These sets are good. Independent stacks are there, that's good. Pair sets are here, that's good. Everything looks right. So let me put the lid on. This tight fits always. Something's not right. Never force a lid on. So all you're doing is damaging your system. Find out what's off. Make sure your nodes make good contact. Make sure your that's not catching. Okay, now it's catching. Let me check this guy. Yes, he is seated correctly. The lid should pop off easy, and it should go in easy. Like that. Stand by for just a minute here while I go ahead and prep the chassis. Okay, so now we are posting the system. It's initiating the firmware levels, and we are going to see if everything but the SSD PCIe card will work. I am doing memory count now. Okay, it is now posting. It shows 192 gigs, which is correct. Now this system has 28 cores in it, or basically roughly close to 64 cores. Oh, I'm sorry, hyperthreads, correction, 28 cores times 2 gives you your hyperthreads, and looking at the status environments and just seeing how this unit is going. I still am reporting some oddities on the battery side, which I'll take care of. That's just small potatoes compared to the rest of it. Now we'll see if it will post and see if all of the additional new add-ons pop up, including the 10 gigabit NIC and so on and so on. Now in the old days, I would go ahead and I would set this up in such a way so that I would put each piece of hardware in, test it, make sure it's good, make sure it's functional. But over the years, my experience tells me that HP gear works pretty much in HP gear, Dell and Dell, and so on and so on. I'm not about the individual nature of a manufacturer. Nah. What matters to me is the individual product. Because Dell makes crap, and Dell makes good stuff. HP makes crap, and HP makes good stuff. It's about the make and model that you're involved with. Okay, so now I've got my cores up and running, and I'm checking them to make sure they're allocating correctly and that my memory resourcing is solid as well. So let me bring this down to you so you can see it a little bit better. Here I've got quite a few numbers of processors, and as you can see, the quantities are there. It's quite a nice picture. The flow and workloads are distributing well. I'm seeing some blocks of processing not quite active, but mostly across the board is good. Memory is doing very well. It is reporting all of the available memory, minus a few gigs that have taken for video and so on. And the network bandwidth issues and challenges look good as well. So the next challenge is going to be going in here and going to software updates and getting the system up to par, basically. And I'll also notate the workload that I'm seeing. I'll do a refresh. There should be something there. Yes, there are. We are getting some new updates. The processor workloads are distributing well. Yep, I'm seeing lots of numbers, not just zeros. We're letting this refresh, and this will generate some additional usage and workloads on network traffic, but it'll be fairly minor. Okay, it's showing that I have no updates. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. What I wanted to see was variances between RAM, which is very low, and core processor stacks on the Ubuntu platform and my overhead. So, with that being said, this system is really looking out to be pretty good. So, with that being the case, I'm going to check, and there they are, 4 additions. The first 4 set are good, and we are looking really good here. So I have 8 sets of paired connections, and that matches with what I have out there. The 10 gigabit is offline because the 10 gigabit is not connected. So with that being the case, we are able to now say that the DL 380 Gen 9 is good to go. Very good. So I'll power this down because I'm not in the business of just running power. Okay, so the good news is all of the tiered gear and so on is doing really well. The bad news is they really are doing everything they can to keep me from using this, but I'll get there. Trust me, I will get there. And when I do, I'll run the performance matrices again to see how well it does. Now I have another, I have another unit, another DL 380 Gen 9 that I used for component part swap outs. But it also has 2 processors and so on and so on. So I am going to bring that guy in here, put the memory in, make sure it basically does the basics, you know, button it up, shore it up, make sure it's okay. It's got some caddies in it. It's definitely a good machine. Sell it for $200 or something like that, get it out of here, because I need to get some stuff out of here. I've got so much IT gear, it's not even funny, and it's over 30 years of experiences. I'm keeping a little bit, but a lot of it I'm going to send out the door. Or scrap it. If I can't sell it, I'll scrap it for core. Well, with that being said, I am going to let you go and have a blessed weekend. I will do one logic video here shortly about looking at your infrastructures and understanding some complexities that you might want to test in your lab and why. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.